Oh my word, this is really clever. These cars, I should say, look a bit different for 2021. I'm also a big fan of rough rides. The Tunnel of Love. I wonder if it'll do anything for me. Hello and welcome back to ThrillNet, bringing you everything thrill related in the UK and beyond via the internet. I'm Ben and this is part 2 of my mini-series touring this crazy recreation of Blackpool Pleasure Beach in Planet Coaster. Last episode we rode the Wild Mouse. Yes, the Wild Mouse has returned for 2021, guys, of course. We also rode Revolution, the Pleasure Beach Express, Big One and Icon. This episode we're going to be starting off at Steeplechase. We're then going to be going over to Avalanche. We're then going to be going to Big Dipper, then riding Infusion and ending on River Caves. And that is going to be the plan. Now you may well be thinking,
but Ben, Infusion's a Vekoma SLC and Vekoma SLCs are awful, so why would you want to ride it?
But when we get to Infusion you'll understand just why I've chosen to ride it. That's going to be coming up later in the episode, of course. A little hint to you though, pay attention to the track design in this photo. That's just a little hint, but yeah, you're going to want to watch this entire video because I'm sure that every single ride we're going to be seeing today is going to absolutely blow you away, because I mean the ones we rode in last episode blew me away and you guys seem to really enjoy the video. Now I did say that I would be doing a part 2 if we got 6 likes on last episode, and in actual fact we got... yeah, we didn't quite reach that goal. However, I got a lot of positive feedback for that video, so I thought, you know what, let's do a part 2. And I think we're going to be doing a part 3 as well, because there's so much to see in this park. Now, as always, I'm going to have timestamps in the description to the different sections of this video. I'm going to do it on a ride-by-ride basis, just so that you guys can navigate easily to particular rides, so you can see them how and when you want to. But without further ado, let's get into our first ride. So, as I mentioned briefly there in that introduction, we're going to be riding Steeplechase first. Yeah, I mentioned that we ended last episode riding Icon, and after we rode Icon, I sort of, made my way back here, ready to start recording this episode outside the big one. I did a brief clip here, but Steeplechase, for those of you who have not visited Blackpool Pleasure Beach, it's just here, and I mean, I'm looking forward to getting back on this for the first time in 2021. It's lockdown, we can't visit Pleasure Beach, so let's ride Steeplechase for the first time in 2021 in Planet Coaster. Why not? See how this is riding. I don't believe I actually rode this in 2020. I may well be wrong, but I don't remember riding this actually. It's been quite a while since we've ridden it, so it's not my favourite coaster at the Pleasure Beach, but I'm interested to get back on it to see what it's like. And oh my word, I thought Steeplechase was aerodynamic steeplechase, not a marathon spinning coaster. Yes, I am right. This is a marathon spinning coaster, not a reversion spinning coaster like Wild Mouse was last episode. I know I'm definitely right this time, guys. Don't you worry. I know my stuff. That was just a little slip up last episode, but it seems like Steeplechase, as we know it at least, has been removed and replaced with this little coaster here. Or, I mean, is it 3 credits? Is it 1 credits? But yeah, we've still got 3 tracks here: a yellow, a green, and a red, as we did before on Steeplechase as we know it.
What an idiot! There are only 2 tracks on this recreation of Steeplechase. 1 green and 1 yellow.
This is still called Steeplechase as far as I'm aware, but I mean obviously the original Steeplechase has been removed. But I mean, let's get on this, I guess. There we go! I had a brilliant ride on Steeplechase 2.0, as I suppose you could call it, because it's replaced the original Steeplechase for 2021, it appears, according to this recreation. Yeah, we've now got 2 marathon spinning tracks as opposed to 3 arrow steeplechase tracks. But yeah, on a serious note, the actual ride type, the arrow steeplechase, obviously isn't in the game. I did actually forget to mention him in the introduction of this video, but yeah, this recreation was made by a creator known as Real Steel, and I will have a link in the description to this park so that you guys can go and download it.
Oh my word, I did this in the last episode and I can't believe I've done it again. That is very sexist of me to assume that this person's a he, and I do apologise.
But as I was saying, Real Steel has done a very good job at recreating Steeplechase at this park when you consider the fact that the Arrow Steeplechase coaster, which is the real model of the coaster, isn't in the game. Obviously they've gone out there and chosen a coaster type to sort of replace that, and they've done a brilliant job at recreating the layout. So yeah, anyways, we are heading over to Avalanche now to take a ride on that. I said we'd be doing Avalanche second, and I'm keeping my promise. Obviously this is a Mack bobsleigh coaster, so I'm definitely looking forward to getting on it, because you know, I think Mack bobsleigh coasters are a bit overhated, to be honest. They get a lot of hate for, you know, having tight lap bar restraints, and I've got to admit they are a bit tight, the restraints on Avalanche. But you know, I feel like I like this coaster a lot more than some other people. I'm just coming up the exit here because I'm entitled to an E-band. So yeah, and hang on a second. The cars look slightly different on this for 2021, and the track looks completely different. However, you know, I've seen that the trough's there at the top. Yep, trough's still there, but you know, this track does not look like I remember it looking, and the station's a lot more bare as well. So it seems like Avalanche has also had some modifications for 2021. But yeah, you know, let's take a ride on this, I guess, and see how it rides when we consider these modifications. Well, that was a brilliant ride on Avalanche, as always, and I didn't really notice a difference in how it rode despite those modifications. The only real visible difference to the ride, apart from those that I mentioned before we got on it, is at the end here. There's now a complete trough. The ride doesn't go back onto a normal track when it hits the final brakes. It just carries on going around the trough. So yeah, that's different. On a serious note, this is really clever what this person has done in terms of recreating this ride. Obviously, I mentioned this last episode, but they haven't worked on this for a while, I believe, the person who's recreated this. I believe since, you know, early 2018 this hasn't been touched. Based on the date that it shows when you download this park. So the vintage pack wasn't out then, and the wooden model of this coaster wasn't in the game because people who've recreated this style of coaster since have often used the wooden bobsleigh because obviously that already has the trough, but there was no coaster in the game, as far as I'm aware, when this was recreated with a trough like this. So this person's used loads of, rectangular arch shapes and cylinders and all sorts to recreate this trough, and then, just use a coaster type that looks similar to the actual Mack bobsleigh coaster, obviously with that not being in the game. And they've used the Vekoma, I believe it is, looping coaster or corkscrew coaster. I can't honestly remember the name of it. But yeah, this is honestly really good. Like, there was a couple of places, like, round the layout where you could see, like, the track poking through. But it's really well hidden. And obviously, if you were to stand under it, like here, you can obviously see the track underneath the trough. But honestly, like, I'm really, really impressed by this. Like, this is so good. But anyway, it's now time to move on to Grand Prix, our third ride of the day, which means we're going to need to, head back out of this area finally, over this bridge, or ramp as it seems to be now, and obviously back over onto the big plaza in the centre of the park, where Grand Prix is located. And yeah, obviously this is a car ride that basically you would drive in real life, and you can see all sorts of rides on this around sort of the South Park area, including Icon. You interact with that. You'd also interact with Big One, I believe, at one point. Big Dipper, I can't remember off the top of my head. This, interestingly, was actually the last ride I rode. And yeah, I've walked completely past the entrance. I'm just going back now. This was the last ride I actually rode. And you know what? Should we? No, we'll just go through the queue. I was gonna do a cheeky E-band exit thing there, but no, I won't. I'll walk up the queue. Yeah, this was the last ride I rode on my last ever visit to Blackpool Pleasure Beach. 23rd of February 2019.
Wow, I meant to say 2020 there, not 2019. Yes, it is a long time since I've set foot in a theme park, but it's not quite that long.
But yeah, it was obviously, a very big day in terms of that. We didn't know back then, but obviously a very big day because I've not visited a theme park since then. And this is the last ride I rode. And these cars, I should say, look a bit different for 2021. But yeah, anyway, let's get on Grand Prix. It will be a special ride to me, this now. And I thought I'd talk to you over the course of this ride, because why not? Since it's a relaxing ride, it's it's one that we can have a bit of a catch up, I guess, because it's a whole 3 days since I've uploaded as of when this video's gone up. My YouTube short would have gone up on the Wednesday before this video is going up, the 3rd of February, I believe. This is going up on the 6th, which is actually, when Blackpool opening day was originally meant to be, obviously, pre-lockdown 3 times, As soon as this lockdown came into place, the 6th of February was out the window in terms of Blackpool opening, and here we go under Icon. But yeah, how have you been, guys, over this past few days?
Wow, all of that right there was actually kind of cringy, but yeah.
Anyway, yeah, so as I was saying before, this ride is basically, a car ride where in real life you drive cars around, but that's of course been removed for 2021 in terms of what this recreation is saying. The cars are now automated, but yeah, beforehand, before 2021, you'd press the pedal down and then drive these cars, and yeah, it's a nice relaxing ride, this. It's a bit of a break from the big thrill roller coasters. I actually would go on this quite a lot pre-COVID times, and I'm sure I'll be going on it quite a lot throughout 2021 and beyond. But yeah, you get some nice interactions with Icon's queue line and basically some other rides around the centre of the park, as I was saying before. And oh my word, we're near the end of this ride already. It used to take a lot longer than this to get around, but I guess that these new automated powered cars, you know, have a lot of power. I don't even know if that's like the right technical term because I'm not a car enthusiast. I'm a theme park enthusiast. But yeah, here we are, we're back at the station. On to the next ride. Well, there we go. That was a nice, relaxing ride on Grand Prix right there. However, I think it's now time for a classic wooden roller coaster. Because, you know, although I like relaxing rides, I'm also a big fan of rough rides.
Okay, first of all, I'm actually not a fan of rough coasters, and second of all, this is a family channel. If you did find that funny though, and you've enjoyed this video so far, then be sure to smash that subscribe button, because I'm aiming to get to 500 subscribers by the end of this year. Also be sure to smash the like button, because it really does help out the channel, and, you know, I'd really appreciate it.
But yeah, I'm obviously talking about Big Dipper. The 1923 wooden roller coaster. Yeah, I can't believe it's like nearly 100 years old now. But yeah, you know, it's a classic wooden roller coaster, this. You know, unless it's unbearable, like, it's pretty good, and most of the time it's not unbearable. The trick is, you want to get on a non-wheel seat, because if you're on a wheel seat, then yeah, you might as well say bye-bye to your spine, because yeah, it's not the most pleasant experience, the ride, should I say, if you sat on a non-wheel seat. But yeah, here we are, Big Dipper. Let's go on the front row, because although that's a wheel seat, the front row is usually, you know, bearable. And you actually get some nice airtime over the second hill for some weird reason, like, yeah, this mysterious airtime, those who've ridden it will know when you get like flung into the lap bar. But anyway, let's get on the ride. Well, that was a perfectly bearable ride there on Big Dipper. I mean, we were on front row, so I mean, what do you expect? But anyway, next, it's time to go on Infusion. And oh my word, wow, this has had quite a lot of changes. Big Dipper was pretty similar to usual, but this is a ride that's definitely had a lot of changes. I mean, look at this track. Seems we have a B&M invert. I mean, I kind of already said this in the last episode, so it's not really much of a surprise. But I mean, yeah, click the card in the top right to go and watch last episode and to sort of see my first reactions to that. And all the other amazing rides that we went on. But yeah, Infusion, Vekoma SLC, it was up until 2021 really unbearable. However, it's now B&M invert, and B&M inverts are renowned for being much more bearable than Vekoma SLCs. So yeah, let's hope for a good ride on this. I mean, on a serious note, as I mentioned before, I don't believe that the person who's created this recreation has worked on it since early 2018. Therefore, the Vekoma SLC, so the coaster type that Infusion is modelled after, wasn't in the game at that point, despite it being added in a DLC more recently. The Magnificent Rides DLC, I'm pretty sure it is. So yeah, they used to be an M invert because that would have been the only real coaster type in the game at the time that was anything like that that Infusion's modelled after. But as I said, we can only hope that with these B&M modifications, the ride runs much better than it did before, because I mean, up to this point I've had one ride on this coaster and I've never ridden it again because yeah, it was that bad. Speaking of which, we're here now, let's give this another chance. Now it's been converted to B&M invert, and yeah, let's get on this thing. Well, after that ride on Infusion, I've got to say that I really appreciate that B&M retrack, because that was much more bearable than the ride I had on Infusion when it was a Vekoma SLC. Yeah, I still banged my head a couple of times on the restraints, but it was certainly much better than constantly banging it, as was the case when I rode it when it was an SLC. So yeah, welcome that retrack, and I'm pretty sure, they've probably done more than retrack that, to be honest.
All I'm going to say is, if you know, you know. But go and watch my big one review. I'll put a link in a card in the top right to that one.
Something, though, I've not actually acknowledged yet in either of the episodes is this little ride over here. It seems that Goldmine has, or is in the process of returning for 2021. This ride was originally Goldmine, but then it closed and got converted into Wallace and Gromit's Thrill-O-Matic for the 2013 season, this being a dark ride. However, it seems that they're working on converting it back to Goldmine. I'm guessing that this is due to absolute outcry from Pleasure Beach fans when Pleasure Beach made the decision to convert this. So they're working on converting it back. However, this ride visibly isn't finished yet. So I think we're going to leave it for now. I don't think it's going to be finished by the time we finish touring this recreation either. So that being when, you know, I've finished recording part 3. So I think we'll leave this alone. But yeah, on a serious note, there's a half-finished recreation of Goldmine in this park, interestingly. But as promised, last but not least, we're going to head onto River Caves. So yeah, let's head back down this ramp, past Bowler Drone, and onto North Park to take a ride on the River Caves. Obviously this being a dart ride, the second oldest ride at the park in fact, because it opened in 1905. I doubt it's had any major changes made to it for the 2021 season, but you never know, you never know. But yeah, let's take a ride then on River Caves, and again I'm going to talk throughout this ride like I did on Grand Prix, because you know it's a relaxing ride, so why not? Well, here we go then on River Caves into the Tunnel of Love. I wonder if it'll do anything for me.
Well, the Tunnel of Love clearly hasn't done anything for me because I'm still single.
Anyway, here we go on the River Caves. For those who don't know, obviously, this is a dart ride with a number of scenes. There's like a prehistoric scene, there's an Egyptian scene, and there used to be a scene where the ride basically interacted with the gold mine ride. However, I don't believe that has been like reintroduced. Obviously, despite the developments going on at the gold mine, but who knows? Oh my word! Oh my word! We're getting soaked. This didn't happen before 2021. But yeah, who knows? They may well open that scene up again. So it's like how it was obviously before 2013, when Wallace and Gromit's Thrill-O-Matic opened after its refurbishment. But here's the scene now that I was just referring to, and now we go into the Valley of the Kings Egyptian scene. And I must say that we're getting around this ride a lot quicker than we did, or we would have done before 2021. Like this, it used to take forever to get around this ride, but here we go up the lift hill. These doors didn't used to be here either, I don't believe, but I may well be wrong. I don't remember everything about Pleasure Beach. Obviously it is a while since I've been, but here we go down a little drop, because this ride does have a little drop. It's always had that. And there we go, a nice ride on River Caves. One of the weaker dart rides at the park, but as for dart rides, I'll definitely be covering some more, including some of the better ones at the park in part 3 of this mini-series. That was a fantastic ride there on River Caves. Nothing appears to have really changed for 2021, apart from the fact that we seem to get round there a little bit faster than before, so I'm guessing that they've sped up the water flow a bit. But yeah, it's been brilliant again, this episode, getting on these amazing recreations of rides. Not all of them are obviously accurate to the real rides, due to obviously the limitations of this game, especially Steeplechase, for instance. But yeah, make sure you subscribe and click the bell to enable notifications so you don't miss out any future videos, including any future episodes in this series, if you haven't done so already. Be sure to also smash the like button if you've enjoyed this video, because it really does help out the channel. In the top left, you're now going to see a video recommended to you by YouTube. In the top right, you're going to see a video recommended by me. And at the bottom, you have the option to subscribe. But for now, thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time.